So Dogs win. They now will be very hard to displace out of the top four off the back of that and the remainder of the season because of just the way this season's gone. But that was, to me, their best side that they ran out last night, Hoops. And I don't think anybody was surprised that Lachlan Galvin was left out, considering of how well they have been going before he arrived at the club.
Oh, no, I disagree with that. I think people were surprised in that, there's been so many headlines around Lockie's arrival at Belmore, and he has been in the 17 ever since he arrived. So it did come as a shock an hour before kickoff when the news hit, and it was widely reverberated around the game. I think it's the right call. I think it's a brave call from Cameron Ciraldo. There's been a lot of noise. Cameron called it ridiculous, some of the noise during the week. I think he referenced reality television programs as well and that sort of thing. It was quite you can see that all the external noise has actually had a little impact inside the Bulldogs and all the questions around what is their best 17 and what's the best balance and how's it all going to fly and Ciraldo's got to make it work. Well, he made it work last night.
Yeah, look, long way to go, isn't it? It's a 4,000-kilometre round trip to Townsville when you don't put your football boots on. Mind you, I think the 80 minutes inside the coaching box would have been a great education process for young Lachlan, 19 years of age, turns 20 this week, to learn a bit more about Cameron Ciraldo and what the team's trying to achieve this year. What it did show us, though, it was an education for all of us. It showed us that Matt Burton can never, ever be moved from 5'8" again, even when Stephen Crichton's out of the side.
Agreed.
He's a very good 5'8". I think he should be New South Wales 5'8". That's what I think of him. And Reid Marnie, the other thing it showed me is he is dead set an 80-minute footballer. His defence, at the back end of that game, he was like a bulldozer. He forced a couple of errors. He went in that hard. So I think what they've been doing by taking the hooker off after 50 minutes, I don't think that's the right way to go. What it showed me, they have Haywood, they have Mann, who are utility players who can cover a lot of positions.
Yep.
My view is this: no disrespect whatsoever to Lachlan Galvin. I think it'd be in his best interest now to stay match fit, match conditioned, start playing a bit of New South Wales Cup, and be there ready if there are injuries.
If Sexton gets injured.
Yeah,
because
if Sexton gets injured, or if Burton gets injured, or if Marnie gets in. But he needs match conditioning each week, not sitting on the bench, because I've explained, I think Burton has this, and I think Marnie needs to stay in the field.
See, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
Bulldogs got the win,
Yep.
but it was their worst performance in the last 3 weeks.
What, worse than the last 20 minutes
against the Bronx?
Overall.
Yeah, but two Origin players were out.
Yeah,
Crichton was out. Mann
I'm
was
aware
out.
of that. But for me, if that game, if Carraz doesn't turn and chase and put that kick out at the end when the Cowboys are coming strong, and there's those sloppy offloads, there was like 4 in the tackle on 2 occasions in that last set. The Dogs were it was a gutsy win, but it wasn't a very well performance win. It wasn't a good performance that got the victory.
No,
but
it was clunky.
if the Cowboys get a try at the end there, Are we examining the processes and go, you know what, they should have had Galvin on because Burton went off injured. So we react to the result. And look, I do it as well as a fan. I know what it's like. We are a results-based industry. Yeah. But for me, that was the worst performance in a long time for the Dogs.
There were so many ifs in rugby league.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if Reid Marnie hadn't have been out there belting blokes, I think he got a couple of possession turnovers.
Oh, 100%. I thought he was great.
If he wasn't out there I'm not sure they would have won. I'm not sure.
Are they a better side? Are they a better side with Galvin in the team at the moment, or without? Because I think what Sexton did for the first 12 weeks proved that they're at the top of the competition, and so I understand their long-term plan, and I understand that he's going to be their 7 long-term. But I tend to agree with Buzz for this. For this season, there's no place for all this.
Sexton last night was playing against the Wally Lewis medal winner, and he held his own. He really did. Reid Marnie was up against Reece Robson, the New South Wales hooker, and beat him. 1-on-1, he beat him. Those 2 players, in my view, should not even be leaving the club at the end of the season, let alone being not considered for selection. Now, I think they've got to start, and as I said, I think Galvin's place at the moment. He is a big picture, long-term signing. In 2 years, he might be delivering the premierships that Gus told us about. But right now, I don't think he's going to improve the side. But it's all
right now, though, Buzz, I think if we fast forward to September and what could be needed in a game from the Dogs to get a win. Let's look back to last September against Manly. They outperformed Manly, but brilliance from the Manly spine got them through. Yeah,
sure.
So let's fast forward to this September. What might just they need?
Yeah,
a bit of brilliance from someone like Galvin. So I'm of the opinion, and look,
do you agree New South Wales Cup now to get football?
But this is it. I don't know. Because what I think is about the end of the season when you might need those moments. So they're going to have to get accustomed to playing with maybe Galvin coming off the bench and figuring out that style of play now rather than waiting for September.
So it could be a 16-man rotation week in, week out, potentially, if there's nothing. But then you've got him there as backup.
That's where I'm thinking. I'm thinking about what the Dogs will need. If we've
but
analysed
what the Dogs needed last night was 4 big forwards, as Cameron said. They were playing in the heat up there, and it will depend on conditions.
Yeah, but respectfully, Brad Moran, who was a player, I think, who came in for Gal, he's not a big guy, right? It did give them an additional body in terms of the rotation. But to Jammer's point, you'd have to think that the Bulldogs' best 17 leading into the big games at the end of September, surely Galvin's got to fit into it somewhere. I think it was as much about Cameron Ciraldo sending a message to the rest of the playing group because, let's be frank, there has been a lot of noise around, and the fact that Cameron had to address it during the week and he referenced a little bit tongue-in-cheek reality TV shows and that sort of thing, it shows that all the noise has drawn a lot of attention on it, and they are still trying to figure out the best balance. I think he wanted to send a message to the rest of the group that Lockie isn't above any other player just because he's come here mid-season and all the headlines and all the speculation and Gus's courting of him and all that sort of thing on the podcast.
Likely that his performances haven't been up to standard yet.
Yep.
He obviously came to the club with a lot of expectation, and you can see that there's pressure on this young man, this teenager, but what he's produced so far isn't up to the standards of the football club. It's not why that he's come into the team. And I feel like he's arguably trying too hard when I've seen him play. But the buck stops with the coach, and he's made the call to send that message out to Galvin or the group.
I 100% agree with what you're saying, Jimmy. At the back end of the year, he might be more than useful off the bench. He can come on, he can throw a game open and win a game. But right now, sitting on the bench or sitting in the coaching box, in my view, is not in his best interest. So I said, I don't want to take Marnie off. I don't want to move Sexton. I certainly don't want to move Burton. And
you never know what can happen in a game. We saw it last night with Burton. The only thing, Buzz, with New South Wales Cup, if he was going to play New South Wales Cup, they played at A. So I would have thought he wouldn't go to Townsville if that was the plan. That's why I don't think this is permanent.
Yeah.
Buzz, I mean, you've been criticised today, obviously not named, but criticised that you've had some attacks.
Not named. I'm the only old hack in Sydney, aren't I? What I was called. But my mate Danny.
Do you think that you have been unfair on this decision at the Dogs the way it's been handled?
Look, what I did last week, and I'm happy to admit I made a mistake. I put up an online poll, and I asked fans to rate Lachlan Galvin a 7, a 5, a 3, or whatever it was, right? And a very strong young lady who works at the Bulldogs, pulled me up on social media, Darcy McDonald.
Yep.
And I like, women having a, strong
I actually saw you reply to her.
And I stewed over for about an hour at home, and I thought, I think she might have a point. I think it's okay for me to comment, but when I'm trying to get fans to pile on, entice them to, join them.
Yeah.
So I said that to Darcy on Twitter, and I pulled the poll down.
Yeah.
Danny wrote this morning that I was embarrassed by and pulled it down. I wasn't embarrassed at all. What actually happened from Darcy's message she left me, I understood a point, and I was worried about the effect of, what it could do to a young footballer.
Yeah.
So I quickly pulled it down, said I'd made a mistake, owned it, and
But can I be honest with you? You shouldn't have took it down.
Why?
Because if a young footballer doesn't have the resilience to deal with criticism, then they're in the wrong game.
Yeah.
You've got to be resilient enough to take the opinions of people that do not matter on board, the rough with the smooth.